Hey there, welcome to my kitchen. Today is San Jacinto Day. Happy San Jacinto Day, April the 21st, 1826. General Sam Houston of the Republic of Texas defeated the Mexican army at the Battle of San Jacinto, which is just west of Houston on Buffalo Bayou with the Houston Ship Channel. There's a monument there. You should go if you haven't been. It's a really nice park and museum. One of the most famous battles in world history, changed the course of world history, which hopefully you learned last year in 7th grade. Okay, well, we're in 8th grade and we're in math class. This is my container into which to put water and then put an item and then water, rather. Let's talk about how to calibrate it. Okay, you're going to need to have about 20 units of volume. Now, your unit of volume is going to be your unit. You're going to create it. You can use about anything, but what you need to do is whatever size you have, your standard unit needs to take about 20 of them to fit in it. Okay, how can you do that? Here's a measuring cup. Yay, measuring cup. You can use that. You can measure. You can figure out how much is in it, divide by 20, and then use that much. That's one way to do it. As I've been trying to figure out how to do this remotely, it's occurred to me that since all of y'all are different, you can do the measurement, but it would really be easier if you would find something to be your standard unit of volume, cubic unit, and use it all the time because you're going to be dumping it in a lot of times. Things that you can do. Okay, first off, you can measure and say like maybe 2 ounces, 1/3 of a cup, or if you want to do it in metric, it can be 100 milliliters, 50 milliliters, however you want to do it will work just fine. However, if you can find something that's the right size, and I found for this one, this 1/4 cup measuring cup will fill this about 21 times. How are you going to figure that out? Well, that's tough. Here, I'm going to turn on the water. I'm in my kitchen. And just do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you play with it a little bit. You're going to figure out about how much is going to work. I did this, and mine 1/4 measuring cup for my container will fill it about 20. It takes about 21 of these to fill that. So this is a good unit to use as my standard unit of measurement. My 1 cubic unit is going to be 1/4 of a cup. Why is it 1/4 of a cup? Because I have this in my drawer from when I'm cooking, and it works. You should do the same thing. Okay, other ways to do that. Again, you can measure each time the same amount, and that'll work fine. What you would do is find the whole volume, divide by 20, and then use that volume. Like I say, it's a little more cumbersome. There are other smaller unit ones, like I have this that measures. Okay? What if your favorite childhood Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail mug just happens to be the right size? You and Beatrix Potter and Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail could then have this be your standard unit of measure for 1 cubic unit for this experiment. And wouldn't that be fun if that happened to be the case? Okay, what if none of these are all perfect and you really don't feel like measuring, several dozen times? Here's one other option that you can do. Okay, if it's like this is a glass that I have, and I've put here a piece of tape, and then this piece of tape, I'll know to fill my cup to the top of the piece of the tape each time. Then that way I don't have to measure every time. So what I do is like measure once, put a piece of tape at the top level of where the water is, and then I would know to fill to the water line each time before I dump it. So what I'd have then is I'd come like this, and I'd know to fill right to the top of the water, and then that would be my 1 unit. That way works really handily because you don't have to find a particular container that's exact. although you've probably got a lot of containers, including Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail in your house, and that you could use one of those if you do. Okay, now what if you chose something smaller for your container? For example, if you choose something that's more, this size, okay, this size for your container. Oh, here, let me find something. Okay, what if you chose this for your container that you're putting things in? Okay, that's straight-sided, they're parallel, that will work, okay? However, when you start dumping this much in there, you're not going to get 20 of them in there. In that case, you might want to use something like a measuring spoon. So you'd start with your measuring spoon and find out about how much would take to fill it up 20 times. Okay, there's one. There's two. There's three. You just have to try it out. Either that or turn the water off. Measure it and do it. Okay, that'll work for a smaller container. Again, you get to pick your container, so we're not going to know if it's big or small. And so when I set it up, if like I'd done this in class, I'd have just told you what to do. So this is actually more fun, that you get to pick your own stuff to do it. So different ways you could do it. You could measure it every time. You could measure it once and mark on your container where that measure comes up to. You could find a specialized container that works just right. Like for mine, the 1/4 of a cup worked just great for my container. Or for this small one, 1 tablespoon or 1 teaspoon, whatever fits for yours, okay, would work. So that's how you find your units of measure, okay? So once you decide what that's going to be, then we need to deal with measuring the height. Because one thing we're going to do is we're going to place our item to be measured down into our canister, our container. So there I've got Dr. Pepper today, had Coke yesterday. Okay, so there's some Dr. Pepper. So I'm going to use that to analyze. The other thing I need to know how many of my standard cubic units go in, and I need to know how high the water goes. Okay, so to figure out how high the water goes, we're going to need to have a ruler. Okay, now my ruler here, where can you see it? Well, it's just a ruler. If you can't read it, that's fine. It's got metric measurement and it's got standard imperial measurement on it. You may use either one. However, if you use the standard, you're going to have to use fractions. There are times when the American version and from the British, which is the inches and feet and stuff, sometimes it's actually easier to use. Like if you're sewing, it's easier to use. At least I think it is. But if you've got to convert, which we're doing, the metric is going to be easier. Now notice here on my ruler, okay, the bottom is not there. It doesn't is zero. Zero is not at the edge. But 0 is also not the bottom of the glass. There's some glass there for the base of it. So what you'll want to do is get wherever your 0 on your ruler is, there's my 0, lined up with whatever the bottom is of your glass, and then tape it on. Okay? That way you won't be making a bunch of shifting around. You'll decrease your error by taping it on. Put another piece of tape here. Okay? Make sure your ruler is perpendicular to the ground or counter or whatever you're sitting on. In this case, I've got it on the counter. So you're going to tape it on like that. If you can see through it. Now, if you chose a canister a canister that you can't see through, that's not glass, then you'll need to put the ruler on the inside. Please go ahead and tape it in some way, secure it so it's not moving around so that you can see. If it's a clear container, it's actually a little bit easier to do because it's going to be kind of hard to see down in there. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to put one of my units in. So I got my standard unit. It's 1/4 a cup, but for me, this is my cubic unit that I'm using. And for me, this is 1 cubic unit. Doesn't matter how much is in the cup because that's not how I'm measuring it. So I put it in once. There we go. Now I got to go look down here. Oh, where is it? It's at, oh, that's inches. No, it's not. 2, 1, 2. Oh, it's right on 2. Okay, so one standard cubic unit, which for me is a fourth of a cup, and that doesn't matter. It's my cup. Is 1 cup, raises it up from 0 to 2. 2 cups is probably going to be about the same because the sides of the Dr. Pepper bottle are pretty parallel right there. Okay, indeed, it raised it up to 4 centimeters. I will record that, and in the next video, you'll see how to record it. You're going to need to mark where it is on your object and the height, and we'll label it A, B, C, and D. Okay, so that's your setup for your experiment. Now you can go on to the video about how to run the experiment. Have a good day.